Number 10, 2026 Cadillac CT4V Blackwing. Dead car walking. And it's faster than half the grid. Cadillac pulls the plug on the CT4 after 2026. But the Blackwing isn't going quietly. A 3.6-liter twin-turbo six-cylinder delivers 472 horsepower and 445 pound-feet to the rear wheels only. And the six-speed manual with no lift shift isn't a museum piece. It's the reason track day regulars are hoarding these while dealerships still have them. The 10-speed auto cracks 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds and chases 189 miles per hour. But the three-pedal car is the one corners remember. Magnetic ride control scans the surface 1,000 times per second. An electronic limited-slip diff control powers out of every apex. And Brembo brakes with performance linings repeat hot laps without crying for cooldown. Edmunds pulled a 1.09G on the skid pad. That's Porsche Cayman territory for a four-door Cadillac wearing a suit. Launch control and line lock are standard because this car expects asphalt abuse, not Sunday cruises. Inside, a 12-inch driver cluster, carbon fiber trim, and the available performance data recorder turn every session into a coaching tool. The sedan the track world didn't expect, and the one it'll miss the most. Price, $64,195. Somewhere on this list, 518 horsepower destroys 1,064 where it matters most. On track. No turbos, no hybrid crutch, just a drag reduction system from F1 and an engine note that haunts you long after the session ends. The answer is sitting at the top. Number 9, 2026 BMW M2 CS. BMW's smallest M car just became its sharpest knife. The M2 CS squeezes 523 horsepower and 479 pound-feet from a twin-turbo 3-liter inline-six, matching the M4 competition. Then drops 97 pounds through a carbon fiber roof, ducktail trunk lid, forged wheels, and racing shell buckets. Rear-wheel drive only, no all-wheel drive safety net. This thing was built to rotate, not to babysit. The 8-speed auto fires it to 60 in 3.7 seconds and stretches to 188 miles per hour. And yes, the manual is gone, which still stings purists until the first corner entry changes their mind. Where this car separates itself is size. At roughly 3,770 pounds, it's lighter and shorter than every rival on this list, which means less mass to haul through direction changes and tighter lines through technical sections. BMW lowered the ride height, stiffened the adaptive dampers, recalibrated the M-Sport differential, and retuned stability logic to let the rear end talk before it shouts. Spec the optional carbon ceramic brakes and you shave another 40 pounds of unsprung mass. The kind of reduction you actually feel mid-corner, not just on a spreadsheet. The cockpit doubles down. Alcantara wheel with a red 12 o'clock marker, illuminated CS badges, and carbon everywhere that matters. A compact weapon dressed for apex hunting. Starting at $98,600. Number 8, 2024 Camaro ZL1 1LE. Chevrolet killed the Camaro, and the 1LE is the reason it deserved to live. A supercharged 6.2-liter LT4 8-cylinder throws 650 horsepower and 650 pound-feet through a 6-speed manual or a 10-speed auto. Detonating 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds and screaming past 198 miles per hour. Quicker to VMAX than the Corvette Z06 it shares DNA with. This is no retirement tour. It's a closing argument written in tire smoke and a Nürburgring time of 7:16, a number that embarrassed European exotics triple its sticker. The 1LE package is what turns raw muscle into a precision weapon. It swaps the standard shock absorbers for Multimatic DSSV dampers. Race-grade technology pulled straight from Le Mans prototype cars, giving the chassis an almost telepathic ability to absorb bumps and stay glued through high-speed corners where other cars would bounce and lose grip. The front suspension uses a clever dual ball joint design that keeps the noise locked down when you slam the brakes before a turn. The rear runs through a fully independent setup that lets each wheel react on its own, so the back end stays composed even when you're hammering the throttle out of a corner. Layer on the massive Brembo 6-piston front brakes that resist fade after punishing laps, an aerodynamic body kit that pushes the car into the pavement at speed, and sticky track-focused tires, and you've got a machine purpose-built to eat corners and ask for seconds. Inside, heated and ventilated Recaro buckets, flat bottom wheel, head-up display, Bose premium audio, and Chevy's performance data recorder with HD video and full telemetry overlay. MSRP was $81,195 new. In 2026, clean examples trade between $60,000 and $100,000 depending on spec and mileage. A supercharged 8-cylinder on race prototype suspension just embarrassed exotics 3 times its price, and it's ranked 8th. The cars ahead don't just go faster, they bend physics. If cars built to punish circuits are your thing, subscribe so the next one lands in your feed. Number 7. 2025 BMW M4 CS. Budget CLS or the best M car ever built? Depends who you ask, but the lap times don't care about labels. The M4 CS extracts 543 horsepower and 479 pound-feet from BMW's twin-turbo 3-liter S58 inline-6. The same engine family that powers the M4 GT3 race car pairs it with an 8-speed auto and M xDrive all-wheel drive and launches to 60 in a factory-claimed 3.2 seconds, with independent tests catching it as low as 2.8. Top speed hits 188 miles per hour. A Nürburgring lap of 7:21.99 makes it the second fastest production BMW to ever circle the Nordschleife, trailing only the limited-run CSL by a breath. What makes it stick on circuit is the chassis overhaul beneath the carbon fiber skin. BMW recalibrated the adaptive dampers, stiffened the auxiliary springs, and reworked the anti-roll bars, specifically for the CS's reduced weight. 77 pounds lighter than the M4 competition thanks to a carbon hood, roof, splitter, diffuser, and rear spoiler. The M xDrive system includes a dedicated rear-wheel drive mode so you can disconnect the front axle entirely for old-school oversteer, and the Active M differential controls exactly how much torque reaches each rear wheel on corner exit. Optional carbon ceramic brakes shed even more unsprung mass for sharper turn-in and fade-free stopping. Inside, carbon bucket seats, Alcantara wheel with red 12 o'clock marker, titanium exhaust resonator note piped through the cabin, and BMW's full M-Drive Professional suite with lab timer and shift light ladder. MSRP $124,675. Number 6. 2025 Aston Martin Vantage. A tuxedo that throws punches. Aston Martin ripped the old Vantage apart and rebuilt it around one idea: make the most beautiful car in its class, also one of the most violent. The AMG-sourced 4-liter twin-turbo 8-cylinder now breathes through larger turbos, modified cams, and revised cooling to extract 656 horsepower and 590 pound-feet, a 30% leap over its predecessor. A ZF 8-speed auto sits in a rear transaxle layout for near-perfect 50-50 weight distribution, launching the car to 60 in 3.4 seconds and beyond. 202 miles per hour, rear-wheel drive only, because Aston believes the driver should earn it. Where it earns this spot is feel. Aston bolted the steering column directly to the chassis with no rubber isolation. Every crack, every texture, every grain of grip talks straight through your palms. The front mid-engine placement keeps mass behind the front axle, so the nose dives willingly into braking zones instead of washing wide. The aluminum body structure is 7% stiffer than before. Revised active dampers react faster to weight transfer. And bespoke Michelin Pilot Sport S5 tires were co-developed from scratch for this car alone. Option the carbon ceramic brakes, and you drop 60 pounds of unsprung mass, meaning quicker direction changes and consistent pedal bite deep into session. Inside, 10.25-inch infotainment with wireless Apple CarPlay, carbon fiber trim, sport seats with deep bolstering, and 5 drive modes controlled through a machined metal rotary dial. The quad exhaust note shifts character with each mode. Civilized at cruise, unhinged in Sport Plus. So the cabin never lets you forget what's sitting behind that front axle. Starting price, $191,000. Number 5. 2025 Porsche 718 Cayman GT4 RS. 9,000 RPM from a naturally aspirated flat 6. No turbos, no hybrid assist, just a 4-liter engine derived directly from the 911 GT3 screaming behind your head. The GT4 RS makes 493 horsepower and 331 pound-feet. Fires through a 7-speed PDK dual clutch and hits 60 in 3.2 seconds before stretching to 196 miles per hour. In an era drowning in forced induction, this is Porsche reminding the world what a pure mid-engine track weapon sounds like, and it sounds like a race car with a license plate. The mid-engine layout is the cheat code, with the motor sitting inches behind your shoulders. Weight clusters at the center of the car instead of hanging over the axle, so direction changes happen with almost zero hesitation. Porsche stiffened the chassis, added race-spec ball joint suspension at the front, carved out NACA ducts in the hood to feed the brakes cool air, and fitted a fixed rear wing that generates real downforce at speed. A titanium exhaust shaves 22 pounds while amplifying the flat 6 wail. With the Manthe Racing kit, this car holds a Nürburgring time 7:03, faster than supercars with twice the horsepower. Inside, stripped-back lightweight door panels, fabric pull straps replacing door handles, Alcantara bucket seats, and Porsche's Sport Chrono package with a dash-mounted lap timer. The air vents were removed from the dashboard and rerouted through the body. Porsche literally deleted comfort features to save weight and improve airflow to the engine. Every gram cut from the cabin is a gram that the flat 6 doesn't have to carry through the next corner. Price, $164,200. Halfway through, and here's the real question. Would you rather have the raw scream of a 9,000 RPM naturally aspirated flat 6 or the chest punch of a supercharged V8 on Le Mans suspension? No wrong answer, but your pick says everything about you as a driver. Comments are open. Number 4. 2026 Mercedes-AMG GT63 Pro. AMG didn't just tune the GT63. They gave it a racing engineer's cooling obsession and told it to go punch Porsches. The Pro packs a handcrafted 4-liter twin-turbo 8-cylinder boosted to 603 horsepower and 627 pound-feet. 26 horses and 37 pound-feet above the standard GT63, fed through a 9-speed MCT auto and fully variable 4MATIC Plus all-wheel drive. They can send 100% of torque rearward when you want the tail loose. It cracks 60 in 3.1 seconds and tops out at 197 miles per hour. A Nürburgring lap of 7:15 puts it in the territory reserved for mid-engine supercars that weigh 1,000 pounds less. The Pro suffix is an engineering philosophy, not a marketing badge. AMG buried 6 dedicated cooling radiators across the car, 2 for the engine tucked inside the front wheel arcs, plus individual units for the front diff, rear diff, and transfer case, so the drivetrain stays ice cold when you're stacking hot laps that would cook lesser machines. Rear axle steering carves tighter lines through technical sections. AMG Ride Control Plus active suspension reads the road and adjusts stamping continuously, and standard carbon ceramic brakes deliver the same pedal feel on lap 15 than they gave you on lap 1. The 21-inch wheels wear dedicated summer rubber engineered for the kind of lateral loads this car generates. Inside, deep bolstered AMG sport seats, flat bottom wheel, AMG track pace telemetry with real-time data overlay, and a Burmester surround system for when the 8-cylinder isn't soundtrack enough. Price $202,200. Number 3. 2026 Ford Mustang GTD. Ford looked at the Nürburgring leaderboard and saw nothing but European flags and took it personally. The Mustang GTD clocked a 6:52.072, the first American production car to break 7 minutes at Nordschleife, slotting 4th overall among all production cars ever timed there. A supercharged 5.2-liter 8-cylinder delivers 815 horsepower and 664 pound-feet through a rear-mounted 8-speed dual-clutch transaxle borrowed from racing philosophy, not a parts bin. That layout shifts weight distribution to a near-perfect 50-50 and helps obliterate 202 miles per hour on the top end. This isn't a Mustang with extras. It's a GT3 race car granted a license plate. Every piece beneath the skin exists because a lap time demanded it. The suspension is race-derived with adaptive dampers and a button that drops ride height 40 millimeters for track days. A dry sump oil system with dual scavenge pumps prevents starvation under sustained high G loads that would kill a conventional setup with extreme G forces. Active underbody flaps, a front splitter, and an adjustable swan neck rear wing generate over 1,900 pounds of downforce at 180 miles per hour with the performance package, more than double what the GT3 race car produces. Brembo 6-piston carbon ceramic fronts and bespoke Michelin Cup 2R rubber let you brake later and carry more corner speed, while the titanium Agrapovich exhaust turns the 8-cylinder into a soundtrack you feel in your rib cage. Inside, hand-tailored Recaro seats with laser-etched Miko suede, titanium paddle shifters crafted from retired F-22 fighter jet material, and a digital cluster built around lap telemetry. Price $325,000. Number 2. 2026 Chevrolet Corvette ZR1. 1,064 horsepower from a flat plane crank 8-cylinder. No hybrid, no electric motors, just twin turbos, force-feeding a 5.5-liter LT7 that revs to 7,000 RPM and produces 828 pound-feet of torque. This is the most beautiful 8-cylinder ever dropped into a production car by an American manufacturer, and it sits behind the driver's head in a mid-engine chassis that costs less than half of what Europeans charge for similar numbers. An 8-speed dual clutch fires it up to 60 in 2.3 seconds, through the quarter in 9.6 at 150 miles per hour, and onward to a 233 mile per hour top speed. Hear that again? 233. The ZTK Performance Package turns this missile into a scalpel. Alcon 10-piston front and 6-piston rear calipers, the highest piston count on any production Corvette ever. Clamp carbon ceramic rotors that can haul from 200 miles per hour without a prayer of fade. A carbon fiber half-wing, dive planes, and full underbody ground effects generate so much downforce that Chevy had to reinforce the mounting points on the chassis. Michelin Pilot Cup 2R rubber hooks up with a track-tuned suspension running higher spring rates and magnetic ride damping that reads the road and reacts in 15 milliseconds, faster than your nervous system can process a bump. At 3,670 pounds dry, the ZR1 weighs less than a Porsche 911 Turbo S while making over 400 more horsepower. The quarter-mile trap speed of 150 miles per hour means this car is still accelerating violently at a speed where most performance cars have already given up. Haggerty's test team called the experience brain-breaking, and after running it back-to-back with a 655 horsepower Corvette E-Ray, they said the E-Ray felt sluggish. Inside, redesigned 2026 cockpit with expanded screen real estate, performance data recorder with automated coaching, and configurable PTM Pro traction modes from street to full attack. Starting price, $180,400. Over 1,000 horsepower just took second. The car you've been waiting for revs to 9,000 RPM without a single turbocharger and lapped the ring faster than machines worth millions. This is your reward for staying, and it delivers. Number 1, 2025 Porsche 911 GT3 RS. Critics have spent decades using 4 words to humble every track car on the market. But it's no GT3 RS. This is the car that owns that sentence. A 4-liter naturally aspirated flat 6 revs to a screaming 9,000 RPM. No turbos masking throttle response. No hybrid system adding weight. Just 518 horsepower. 342 pound-feet of pure mechanical fury channeled through a 7-speed PDK to the rear wheels. It clears 60 in 3 seconds and runs a 644.848 at the Nürburgring, a time so violent it embarrasses machines making twice the power. Porsche proved what every driver already suspected. Downforce and balance will always beat brute force. The numbers behind the arrow are staggering. Over 1,500 CFD simulations and 250 wind tunnel hours produced triple the downforce of the standard GT3. A fully active front wing pivots up to 80 degrees depending on speed and braking input, while the swan neck rear wing runs an F1-derived track reduction system that opens on straights for top speed and snaps shut in braking zones to maximize grip. Carbon fiber doors, hood, roof, and fenders gut unnecessary mass. Double wishbone front suspension with ball joints gives surgical turn-in. Center lock forged wheels wrapped in ultra high performance rubber put the power where the physics demand it. Porsche ceramic composite brakes deliver the same pedal bite on lap 20 they gave on lap 1. The optional YSAC package shaves another 33 pounds and adds a rear roll cage because Porsche assumes you'll use it. Inside, full carbon fiber bucket seats, Alcantara steering wheel, track precision app with real-time telemetry, and the unmistakable howl of a flat 6 at redline filling the cockpit like a standing ovation. The king stays king. Starting price, $241,300. So what's your pick? Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.